Hello everybody, and my name is Demeanors, and today this is going to be a little different video than what I normally make. And if you're here from the description of my main channel, and you are looking for a explanation as to how 5020 Deluxe works, then you found the correct video. This video will go into extreme depth on the general strategy. It'll go into the general basis on what is going on in front of your screen. So if you're a casual viewer who doesn't know what max moding is, doesn't know what the AML or max mode list is, doesn't even know what ultimate custom night is, this video is probably for you. So what I will explain here, I'm going to explain the basics of UCN in general. This Ultimate Custom Night is basically the 7th game in Scott's final Click Team Era series, where he decided to take the Custom Night challenge from all his previous games, excluding 6, and mesh them into one game where it's just the Custom Night menu and you get to do whatever. This is a mod of that, so if you do not know what 5020 or Ultimate Custom Night Vanilla is, I'd suggest you go watch my previous videos and watch the Bones 5 guide on it, as Vanilla is a lot more easier to digest than this. But if you already know what Ultimate Custom Night is, then keep going. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I start the night. This is my last attempt before I actually won, so let's get started. So first, what I'm doing here is a thing called maskless coin farming, where I pull the cameras up and down while selecting things on the camera to generate Faz coins to buy the death coin. This is pretty standard in pretty much any version of UCN, and in Recode you even do it multiple times, so this is an essential step. However, in Deluxe, coin farming is different than Vanilla, as Helpy and the Balloon Kids and the side vent here are 100% guaranteed to appear every time you pull down the cameras, so it's important that you are really good at coin farming to be on coin pace. But I'll explain what coin pace is in a second. So I'm selecting a system each time I pull up the camera and pull it down. Check Foxy. I buy the death coin, but I'm still at 4 coins, so I need to still farm coins for plushies. I check Foxy and select cam, I think it's 4, which is Puppet and Chica's cam. I death coin whilst farming Faz coins, which you can see in the corner here. Then I select Toy Freddy's camera to start the setup cycle for the entire rest of the night, and I will be explaining how the cycle goes in a minute. I catch OMC's fish so my cameras don't lock, and I do this for the entire night. Zor spawns, so the secret characters are about to spawn, and I will show you what the secret characters are further into the run. Farming coins, farming coins. I farm until about maybe 16, 17 seconds. I click this camera system to ward off any phantoms, like Phantom Mangle or Phantom BB, for example. Although if Phantom BB was here, I would have to click the vent system instead, but with enough playtime, I'll be able to see which phantom's on the screen. But I get rid of Phantom Mangle from muscle memory at this point by always clicking this cam system button every time I enter the cams. I play Toy Freddy's game here. I go into the duct system, place a duct lure here, so any animatronics here stay here for the duration that the duct is open, so they don't go into the duct opening and end the run. I see that Mangle, Chica are far away from my openings, so I decide to take the 2 out of 3 chance that Mangle will either go up here or go the same path Chica is going, and I decide to put a vent snare here because Chica is closer than Mangle to my vent snare opening. I go into the cam system, click on Funtime Foxy's cam, drop cams immediately to my mask down to ward off Golden Freddy if he appears. Click Helpy, mute call. I switch the wet floor sign. close off any door characters. I check Foxy. And now you can see the first secret character that's apparent is Plush Trap. Plush Trap, how he works is you have to watch him while he's on the chair for about a second, and he'll get off the chair. But in this version of the game, you don't have to do it once. You have to do it the entire night. Watching him leave the chair only resets his kill timer in this version of the game. I switch the wet floor sign again, and now I start the cam cycle. So I click cam system, I go into the ducts first, put the duct lure here, and open this duct, and then close this duct. Vent system, I was wrong in my assumption that Mangle would take the 2 and 3 to either go here or here, but Chica is still closer to my snare opening, so I click the snare, go into the camera system, reset ventilation, go into cam 2, 1, 3 to check lefty, then play Toy Freddy's game again, and I hear this banging noise. This banging noise indicates when Afton is barging into your side vent, and you only have around, I'd say, 1.66 seconds to react. I close them off, close Mr. Hugs off. I check to see if Mangle has advanced yet. Mangle has not advanced yet, and Chica is still closer to my vent opening, so I examine the situation, go to my cam system, select Funtime Foxy's cam, and drop cams. Just in time for Toy Bonnie's kill timer to not kill me. I click Helpy, switch the wet floor sign again, pay the coins, even though I didn't really need to. I could have waited a whole cycle, but since I had so many coins, I didn't really want to risk him being in my ear the entire time during the cam cycle so I could focus. I flash down Phantom Freddy, and I drop mask for Withered Bonnie. Foxy, important thing about Foxy is that Foxy's appearance on the desk is random, I'm pretty sure. If not, it's guaranteed. After Bonnie's off the desk and you drop cams, he'll appear. And if Foxy appears on the desk, you have to check his camera before doing the camera cycle. So I quickly check his camera, go back on Funtime Foxy's camera, select the duct system. Now I see that Ned Bear is farther from my duct opening than Orville. My lure is about to run out. You can tell by the opacity of the lure, because once your lure is like opaque white, that means it's full. And when it's like translucent or transparent like this, that means it's running out and I need to replace it. And since Ned Bear is farther from my opening than Orville, I decide to just refill the duct lure, go into vent system. Mangle is right on my ass, so I close the vent snare there, watch Plush Trap, click cam 2, and Rockstar Bonnie's guitars right here. I click it, check lefty, and I close off Mr. Hugs and Toy Freddy's camera while closing off any other threats, and pull down the cameras and drop the mask for Golden Freddy here. And that's pretty much the general cycle for the cameras, and I'll explain to you the office tool cycle once needed. So I click Helpy and mute the call. There's Bonnet right there. And I close Freddy off because it's close to 50 seconds on the timer, because Freddy appears at your door every 50 seconds, just about. Depending on temperature and noise, he moves faster, but he appears at around like 48 seconds in normal play usually. I shock Scrap Baby, flash down Phantom BB and Phantom Freddy, or Nightmare BB and Phantom Freddy. I open cams again and do the same camera cycle. Drop cams. Now you don't And I ward off Nightmare Chica using the heater. I didn't mention her before, but yes, Nightmare Chica is a secret character that's recurring, like all the other secret characters. Switch the wet floor signs again. I stay in the office at every hour change unless I know that the showtime for Funtime Foxy is not on that hour, and I continue the camera cycle, and I'll show you an example of this later. I open cams. I just passed the showtime and clicked on Funtime Foxy's camera. I check Foxy. Duct system, I do this. I do the same jargon. Reset ventilation. And let's explain one of the bigger parts of the mode. This is a plushie character, and that means by the next hour change, so in 57 seconds, I have to buy the corresponding plushie in this camera. Otherwise, it's instant death. This is what I was talking about before on CoinPace. If you're not on CoinPace and don't have enough money to buy the plushies by the time the hour changes, you die. Which is why farming coins at the beginning and being really good at door closing during the camera cycles is very important. And I probably should explain what tools I'm using in the cameras too. I'm using power generator and fan during my camera cycle. And you do this every time, regardless of Lefty, unless he is at the last stage. But I don't do this here because I'm insanely fast in the cameras that I can wait until I'm in the office to do silent ventilation, and it saves power. But Lefty's at like stage 2, 3 here, I think. I don't know. I don't really pay attention to the sprites and what stages they are. But this is a decently early stage. He's awake, but he's not quite about to rush out the supply closet. I play Toy Freddy's game, obviously. I buy the Mangle plush, go back to Funtime Foxy's camera, and I proceed to do the office cycle. I turn on silent ventilation just to be on the safer side for my next camera cycle. So silent ventilation is what calms Lefty and keeps him down. And this game's a fine balance between power and keeping Lefty at bay. So silent ventilation becomes the most useless tool in vanilla to the most useful tool that you could possibly have in Deluxe. So it's important that you use silent ventilation. I turn it off, go into the cameras, you do the camera cycle, and I turn on power gen and fan by the time I'm done with the vents. Then I do the rest of the cam cycle, Lolbit appears, and I press Q and E to quickly ward her off. Mute phone guy and play Toy Freddy's game as normal. I pay Rockstar Freddy, close off any threats, check Foxy, do the camera cycle. I click Rockstar Bonnie's guitar, close off Ballora, and this right here is the hardest secret character in UCN Deluxe, period, in 5020, because they appear multiple times per night, and they block Foxy and Bonnie's figurine. And Foxy and knowing which figurine Foxy and Bonnie are on your desk is crucial, because Bonnie can stall Foxy's progression when he's on the desk, and if Foxy's on the desk, he can progress while he's on the desk. So checking him during a camera cycle is always very important, and some people even check twice per cycle just to keep him at bay. And as you can see here, Bonnie's on the table. If you look really closely, there's Bonnie. You can see him despite the mini-arena's blocking because I moved my camera. So I know I don't have to check his camera. I close off Springtrap there. And I close off Ennard and the Balloon Kids. Ward off Lolbit. Close off any doors while I do the camera cycle and do the tool cycle. Ward off Nightmare Chica and Afton. Do the camera cycle again, check Foxy. Orville is at my opening, so I put the lure on the opposite side and close the duct on him. And I do the camera cycle as normal. Ward off Lolbit again, drop cams, click on Bonnet's nose. I'm checking for Foxy or Bonnie on the desk. Bonnie is on the desk. I'm doing a mini cycle here because the show time is in 1 second. So I'm going to stay on Funtime Foxy's camera for an extra second here. The show time is now ended. And an important thing to note in Deluxe is that you don't have to be on the cameras to watch the showtime. You just have to have his camera selected and the camera system selected. If you have his camera selected but a different system like the vents or ducts, you will die. So it's important to be selected on his camera with the camera system. But you can watch the showtime while in the office. I switch the wet floor sign again, ward off Withered Bonnie, check the cams. I see that Ned Bear is at my opening now, so I lure these two and open this duct and close that one. I see that Mangle is closer to my vent opening than Chica, so I have to switch to the top, go into the camera system and do the normal cycle. Lefty here is very close to rushing out. He's like second to last stage, I think. So after this camera cycle, I have to use silent ventilation. Ward off Lull Bit quickly because Lefty's at a late stage and I do not want Lefty to advance quickly. Close off Mr. Hugs. Select Funtime Foxy's cam. Drop cams. And this cycle pretty much remains the same for the entire rest of the video. But I will show you some caveats to the cycle before hour changes, for example. Let's see the next showtime here. It is 3 a.m. So let's just fast forward to around the 3 a.m. showtime real quick. Right here. So I select this cam. But I don't go back on the cams to do a cycle because I know if I do, I will die. So I just instead opt to wait. So the ducts aren't near me. The vent is near me. Reset ventilation. Drop cams. Now I know no threat will come into the office if I stay here. So I decide to stay here with the cams closed to make sure I watch the showtime. Close off Afton, ward off Lull Bit, pay Rockstar Freddy and Shock Scat Baby. And I enter 3 a.m. So I do the cycle again. Now Orville is near my event, duct opening, so I close them off. I switch the ducts again because Ned Bear is relatively close to my ducts. He's right here. So dealing with him long in advance, and since Orville's right here, he's more likely to go down this way as opposed to going down, down, and then over here. And either way, it's a win-win because if he goes down here, the duct is already closed, so he'll just bonk on it. And since Ned Bear's already going this way, I'm fine. Next showtime's 5 a.m. Lefty advances, so I need to use silent ventilation. I tank a Phantom Freddy jump scare, which basically makes the oxygen level go way down if he jump scares you, so you're forced to reset ventilation in the next 5 or 10 seconds, otherwise you'll fully black out and die. So I quickly reset the ventilation, do the duct thing again. Now, Circus Baby is in the hallway now. So that means I have to buy her plush by the next hour change, otherwise I die. I close Freddy off because I see him in the cameras. And then I made note of Rockstar's Bonnie's guitar being in Funtime Foxy's camera, so I do the office cycle. Use silent ventilation. Switch, close off Afton. Buy Circus Baby's plush and immediately use silent ventilation. Close Ballora. And I still use silent ventilation because of ducts and vents being close to my openings. But luckily, Mangle chose this side, so I'm fine. I quickly use power gen and fan to cool the office. And I close off Now let's get to the 5 a.m. phase, which is where a lot of my runs came to die. So let's explain the hour change cycle here. I drop cams. I need to do a quick mini cycle here. So what I do, since the show time is at 5 a.m., I quickly checked Foxy before the hour change so he didn't have a risk to get into my office. Ward off Nightmare Chica quickly. Check Foxy again. And Mangle is in my fucking vent snare, so I have to close her off. Close her off. We're good. And now I have to just last this hour. And now Nightmare Bonnie is at my right hole now, so I have to buy his plushie. Luckily, since I was really good at farming coins, I can easily buy the plushie right now. Which I think I do. I buy it right away. No, I do it next cycle. I use Silent Ventilation for Lefty, close off Afton, close off the Deluxe, regular cam cycle stuff. Buy Nightmare Bonnie's plush. Ward off a little bit, quickly. Check Foxy. He's on the very last stage now. I gotta close Mangle off. Top vent. Click Bonnet. Switch the wet floor sign. You always gotta do that before a cycle. Before starting a camera cycle, you have to switch this. I probably should have clarified, but yes, you have to do that. I go in. This is pretty much the last cycle, so I cannot mess this up. I'm on excellent power pace, and I'm bought all the plushies with 20 coins. Orville's at my opening. Quickly close them off. Now I don't have to deal with the ducts. And the vent characters are far away. Close Nightmare off. Ward off Nightmare Chica. Ward off Afton. Check Foxy, just last minute. Close off the vent characters. Close off Freddy. And I watched the 6 a.m. showtime because I had his camera selected, which means I won the night and I didn't die at 6 a.m. I had 2 deaths before getting this win where I died to Funtime Foxy because I didn't have the camera system selected, which I will show right now actually. So real quick. I will show you. So this is what caused my 6 a.m. death.
5 coins.
So I take off the mask. I try and do a mini cycle, but a little bit distracts me. And I missed the cam system button to go for the vent system, and I died to Funtime Foxy. I had his camera selected, you saw, but because I had his because I didn't have the camera system selected and I missed, this is what ultimately caused me a death. And it's very sad too, because I had insane power pace for this too. So, yeah. That is pretty much the basics of 50/20 Deluxe. I hope I explained this well, and if there's any edits in between my explanation, I will make them clear and cut out any redundancies I've said. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to my main channel and this channel, because I post filler max modes here. And just in general, if you'd like to learn more about these max modes and stuff, I would recommend watching YouTubers like The Bones 5, joining the all modes list and max mode list Discord servers, and just getting to know the community. It's a nice place, and it's a place I found myself home to on various occasions. It's quite fun. So, yeah, I hope this covers everything, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.